Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crack in Time, the movie zone. And we are here for Edge of Tomorrow. Hope to find yous all very well indeed. And for anybody that does pop into the chat, we have a poll there for the next movie. And the four choices are. I've picked four whoppers this week. Anyway, I think. But the four movie choices are, and the poll is already a day and a half in, and the four movies are In Our Space, E.T., Enemy Mine, and Starman. So, in last place at the moment, it's In Our Space with 9%. In third position, we've got Starman at 15%, 32% Enemy Mine, and leading the poll at the moment with 44% of the vote is E.T. So keep voting, keep voting. I'm going to retweet there. Just give me a second. Right. So I'm going to get the movie ready, and we'll just get the show on the road. It is a Friday. It is a Friday night, isn't it? I haven't lost all sense of reality. No, it is. It's a Friday night. So I know Friday night is very busy for a lot of YouTubers. Friday used to be one of our most popular nights, but obviously, you know, we used to do the TheMovieZone talks on the Friday when Doctor Who was around. So yeah, it was one of the very popular. So obviously, it's going to be a bit different now until Doctor Who obviously comes back. But yeah, we'll do these movie streams. I actually like this movie that's coming up. I would have been happy with any of the movies, to be quite honest, that were in the poll. I'm I obviously picked them because I like the movies, So any movies that I do pick is movies that I have liked growing up as a kid. So you're actually getting an insight into the type of movies that I'm actually into. So yeah. So Edge of Tomorrow. This got a 7.9. It features Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, isn't it? Who's actually in the that bleeding franchise. What's it? The Quiet Place. The Quiet Place. Which very good. I wouldn't call them horrors. Again, people say, "Oh, they're horror." They're not horrors. But yeah, they're very good movies. They're very good movies. But can't wait to see the next one. Apparently, they have another one coming up, so that'll be good. Can't wait to see that movie. So what I'm gonna do is, because as I said, if you're watching after the fact, it's a Friday night, so it's a very busy night for everybody out there and stuff. So I better send me email to me guest and have someone to talk to. What? But I've got the movie ready anyway. So what we'll do is, as soon as I get me guest on, hopefully they're coming on. I did say, that they could come on. So there you go. Oh, this laptop has updated. It looks like. I was told there was no more updates on it because that's a little bit different. Right, I've sent the email to my co-host. I better just tweet him too. Send him a DM just to let him know. Don't want him thinking I've forgotten. Well, I nearly bleeding did. I nearly did. Where is he? There. Right. He hasn't seen the message anyway, so I don't know if he's around, but I have sent the email. But what we'll do is we'll get straight into the movie anyway, and if he comes in, we'll give him a timestamp. But so if you're ready, I'll do the countdown. So just bear with me. I just forgot that I have to actually load the bloody movie. Okay, close. Right. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press play. And we are off. There's rumours, obviously, it's been going on for years that Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise do want to do a part 2. We've been waiting. I just don't know how that would work after the way that. Well, I suppose it did leave on a bit of a cliffhanger. Jesus Christ, I look like a hillbilly now. What's going on? I need to get my haircut. The wife is right. That looks awful. Nah, Brendan Gleason. Do you remember, but here's the thing. I was thinking about if this movie was made today, right? Because you got a female lead, right? They've slighted Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is stupid. His character can't shoot a gun. Right, that was 2013, right? But if this movie was made today, and I guarantee if they do make the sequel, that people will forget how the first one is and they'll start banging on about how Emily Blunt is making Tom Cruise look stupid or something. It's a great movie, this is. This movie I liked for the fact that Tom Cruise, it was a movie where Tom Cruise wasn't necessarily, you know, the guy that knew everything. You know, he was a mouthpiece, and then he crosses Brendan Gleeson's character, and then he actually gets thrown into it. I love that. Anyway, this is him now flying over London. So if anybody wants a timestamp, we're 3 minutes and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds in. It's a 2 hour movie, so that's why I wanted to start straight away. We don't hang around on the movies today. So there's a nice little shot of the helicopter landing outside London, outside a Parliament building, it looks like. Oh no, it's landing outside the museum that they use for Doctor Who, the 50th anniversary. Same shot, actually. That's nice, actually. Remember that helicopter with the TARDIS bringing the TARDIS down in the 50th anniversary? Same building. He's face his face there when he told him you're going to France. No, listen, you're not going to be sitting in the cozy studio this time. You're actually going to have to get your hands dirty. His face, Brendan Gleason, right? Brendan Gleason's very underrated, but in Ireland, he's a legend to us. Um, he started acting very late in his career. I think it was his 40s or something when he started acting. But you think he was around for a long, long time. Like it's mad. He's not actually been around uh that long of a time, but he can't do an American accent to save his life. And in fairness, he's been put in some movies and some roles that didn't quite. The role was a great role, but they should have probably made his character Irish American or something. But he's a great actor, man. If you ever get a chance to see any other Brendan Gleeson movie, uh, I would I would recommend watching The Guard as well. The Guard as well is very good with Don Cheadle. Brilliant fucking movie, man. If you haven't seen it, like it's the funniest thing. But Brendan Gleeson, as I said, he hasn't been around that long. You think he was around for decades, as I said, but well, he is around a few decades now. But he started his acting career very late. But what an actor! In Ireland, he's not. He's a legend. Obviously. Oh, that was quick. Mammy is back already. That was quick. Where'd you go, Tony's? Okay, that's why it was quick. So yeah, as I said, he's only been acting a few years, but he's a great actor. But I love how Tom Cruise's character here tries to blackmail him. Like, I'm not basically going to war, so I can turn this all on you. Oh, he just got tased. And this is it now. This is where the movie it gets straight into it in this, I have to say. They don't feck around. It's like how many minutes in now? Like it's 8 minutes in now, and imagine if you had to go, we were in a situation like that where we had to actually all fight, even if you had no experience. Oh, what's just give us a second there, folks. Right, we're back. Sorry about that. Just getting me filled there, and Cheryl was shaking her bag of chips, and some of them fell out of the bag. So we always do that. I'm American. No, I'm from Kentucky. I love that line. Actually, yeah, I'm not even thinking here. Yeah, you can close that door, go on, so he can keep him in here with me, because he won't bark around me. Right. So, Ted, it's me and you, and whoever's watching the movie stream with us. Now, you're going to behave yourself. Daddy's going to watch the movie with whoever's watching with him. Isn't it Bill Paxman? I can never say. Paxton. Yeah, he's passed away now, hasn't he? Mammy's having one of those days, Teddy, isn't she? Right. Scusa, ma, Teddy bear. Scusa me. I suppose I mean. Yeah. Oh, God, he needs to relax. We got Tim in the chat. If you need a timestamp, mate, let us know. You should be able to hear me now. Yeah, I was in the distance there. Sorry. As I said, if you need a timestamp, just let me know and I'll give you one. It's Edge of Tomorrow. We're actually 14 minutes and 10 seconds in. So how are you, pal? As I said, I love this movie because for the simple fact is, you know, Tom Cruise, obviously, his character in this is, you know, he's an advertiser, so he's not a soldier. And that's what I like about it, because he always plays the kind of hero type, even though he does become a bit of the hero in this, but that's the point, they build him up. But I love this movie. Where's the safety? I love that. You better make this second part, man. Now that he's fit. Well, he's got another Mission Impossible. Well, did he film the Mission Impossible movie all in one? Because it's been cut in two parts. Wonder if he did the whole movie and it's wrapped completely now. Because if so, now he needs to get back to this movie, because they've been rumored to be doing a second part for ages. Good movie, man. What do you think of? Have you ever seen this one? Huh? I saw it once. It was pretty good. Yeah, it's certainly up there as one of his best movies, I have to say. And I'd probably say it's probably alright. She's done The Quiet Place Part 1 and 2 now. But up until then, I would say Edge of Tomorrow was probably Emily Blunt's best movie too. But this scene I love, where they're jumping out of the plane now. Holy shit, man. Seriously, you literally shit yourself. That's why I have huge respect for soldiers. You know? Because I'm being honest. Look, if I had to fight, and we all had to fight, obviously I would. But the fact that there's people that sign up to do this shit nowadays, holy shit, man, you have to give them credit where credit is due. You want to be one brave motherfucker. Seriously, man. Oh. Tom Cruise does like making these kind of movies, like, doesn't he? Like movies that you wouldn't necessarily think. I mean, another good movie of his is Oblivion. I love that movie as well. Minority Report is another good one. Well, he's dead. You made it, but you got squashed. But I have to say, I even love the alien in this. Like how he survived this. As I said, if this movie, obviously, when they make the second part, you know, because Emily Blunt's character was stronger than Cruise's character up until this point, I guarantee if this movie was brought out today, they'd be all bitching. So this was 3 years before the 2016 version of Ghostbusters and all of this feminist crap. There were always strong women in movies and TV shows. It's all been a hoax, man. There she is. Look at her kicking ass. And now she's about to, if I'm correct. There we go. And she's dead it. We got 5 people watching right now. Why don't you just pop in and say hello in the chat? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tired Spider says not staying, just saying hello, welcome, hello. Uh-oh. Oh, thanks, Tar the Spider. You enjoy the rest of your night, mate. Damn creatures are brilliant looking. Seriously. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. And this is what causes all the... Because he's one of the main ones. What was it? He was the Omega or something. And he's back. Yeah, so wasn't it the Alpha or the Omega? I think it was. But one of them, because he destroyed the blue one, it changed the... I love this scene. Ah, damn, I miss Bill Paxton. I do like these type of movies though, where they keep going back and repeating scenes, but then there's... I love the fact in this scene, he's just completely silent. He's not saying, and because he's just... I mean, I don't know. What would you do in that situation if everything kept repeating itself? The beach scene, it is a great scene, though. I will say that. Oh, he's landed. Oh, there she is. She's kicking ass. She's kicking ass, Ted. But if this was today, if this movie was made today, everybody would have a problem with it because it's a woman. He's got a hole in his chest. Well, of course she took your battery. Now he's alive again. I remember when I first seen this movie, I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? That's what I mean, Tim. It's normal. That's what I mean. See, I think what's happened with YouTube is this. It's quite simple, right? We all started off and we all had a common purpose. We were kind of pissed off that roles were being gender swapped. We were kind of pissed off that, certain roles were being race swapped and the like. But you see what's happened 5 years later, right? Because it's been 5 years since I've been doing my thing on YouTube, right? Is that everybody has lost objectivity. Now everything to them is a tick box or casting for diversity or is this, that, and the other. And that's not necessarily the case. It's not the case. You cannot actually, just because, it's been going on for a while that every single casting. There's some YouTubers out there and some news outlets out there that keep banging on about this every day. And it's like every role they have a problem with. Every role that's either like they cast a woman or they cast a black person or they cast whatever, they have a problem with it now. And not every single one of them, as I said, is cast that way. It's not, you know what I mean? Just because, it's happened in the past doesn't necessarily mean it's going to keep. Look, it will continue in certain franchises. We know that, right? But not every single casting is because of a diversity or a tick box, or you know what I mean. But it's getting ridiculous. Everybody's lost their objectivity. They won't take a step back and actually analyze these things the way they should be analyzed and say, okay, this one obviously maybe isn't a check box, tick box, or whatever rubbish you want to come out with. That's my point. You know what I mean? Because seriously, there's a rumor of a part 2 in this. I can guarantee you when part 2 comes out, people be bitching about how Emily Blunt is the better character than Tom Cruise or whatever. They made Tom Cruise look stupid. He's stupid in this movie. Whole point of this movie is he keeps dying and then eventually she trains him. right? And then if they actually analyze the movie properly, there's only a certain point that she goes forward in this movie, and there's a certain point where she's always going to die no matter what he does, and it's up to him then to kind of like save the day. And see, she knows because it happened to her. So yeah, I don't get. Look at. I will watch a female-led movie, right? If it's good acting, good directing, and it's actually, you know what I mean. As I said, a decent fucking movie. Like I didn't like Captain Marvel. Brie Larson's just not a great actress. I didn't like Doctor Who under Jodie because I don't think she's a great actress. I love the way he keeps walking. Look. So I don't, you know, I just didn't like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. And the thing about it is, I've been roped in with everybody else. Well, Noel then thinks that every role and all this, that, and the other. No, no, it's not. I will watch any movie once it's got good writing, good directing, and good acting. And I'm not going to always assume that every role that they cast now is a diversity hire or a tick box hire. That's absolutely ridiculous. As I said, the side that we're supposed to be fighting on, the side that's supposed to be protecting pop culture, have lost all objectivity and become ridiculous. And whether they like it or not, right? Whether they like it or not, well, and I know they're not. But if they like it or not, they're coming across as racists. And I know they're not. But they just gotten into this vicious fucking loop where they just can't seem to break free from it and look at things objectively. I love the fact that he already knows what's coming. And Bill Paxton's character, it's just looked at him because he doesn't know what the fuck, because he keeps. Oh, this is where he kills himself here because he gets crushed by the truck. I'm sorry, but Sarge's reaction, what the hell were you thinking? Well, he wasn't thinking of getting squashed by a bleeding army truck anyway. Oh. Hey, Chris, if you need a timestamp, pal, it's Edge of Tomorrow. We're 37 minutes. So if you go 38 minutes, you'll be a couple of seconds in front of me. But that scene is just so bleeding funny, man. Don't worry, I have the YouTube comments on YouTube, so I'm reading these accounts so I can see is in while I'm watching the movie full screen, you know. So I can see is there. Oh, so this is a problem with me server. Don't be doing that shit. Yeah, unfortunately, Holly. Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. I mean, these men, the way they are writing female characters it's unrealistic. Let's be honest, it's unrealistic. At the end of the day, women like men have their limitations. We all both have our limitations and we both have our strengths. And there's nothing wrong with showing that. But in Hollywood, they won't show that anymore. They'll show the men's weaknesses, all right. But they only show the women's strengths. But they're not showing that they have limitations or they have weaknesses. And that's the problem. It's unrealistic. It's not as I said, we're all flawed human beings. I'm not just picking on, as I said, I'm not trying to make this about women. What I'm trying to say is that there's an unrealistic um, interpretation of what a woman is in Hollywood. And it's wrong. It's wrong. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our strengths. And if you're going to portray a female or a male character, you should do it properly. Right? There's the Irish flag in the background. It is the actual Irish flag, because it doesn't. The Indian flag is the other way around. But That's what I loved about this movie as well, is that there was actually an Irish flag in the UK. Woohoo! What? Yeah, well, Chris, whether Hollywood likes it or not, women do have weaknesses, so they want to get over themselves. Do you know what it probably is? All those blokes that are writing all those female characters, maybe that's how they see them because they're intimidated by them. So again, they're projecting their own weaknesses onto everybody else. All right. Oh, battered sausage. I love the fact that Tom Cruise character doesn't know what the fuck is going on here. Like, what he's talking about. Right, so, yeah, I was right. So he killed an alpha, and because he killed the alpha, he changed the course of events, which is actually explained. But this is what I love about this movie. I love this movie. And in fairness, the end of the movie kind of does leave it on, well, there's a chance of a second one. They've just never gotten around to it because obviously she started doing The Quiet Place. Tom Cruise has been concentrating on Maverick and Mission Impossible. But I think they both now have a bit of a break now because I think she's already filmed The Quiet Place Part 3 or Day 1 or whatever they're going to believe and be calling it. And he's already filmed, I think he's already finished filming of Mission Impossible. So this could be the opportunity now for them to do Edge of Tomorrow too. And to be honest with you, I have no worries that this sequel will actually do well because if you see how Maverick turned out, look, Tom Cruise is right now for me is he's always been, look, he's the last of that generation. Let's be honest about it. He's the last of that generation that's still around. I mean, look at Bruce Willis. Fortunately, he's had to retire from acting. Mel Gibson, Well, will we ever see Mel Gibson in a decent movie again? Is remains to be seen. Um, but he is directing. But if you Sylvester Stallone, well, he has a few years on Tom Cruise, but you know, still, they're a generation of actors that we all grew up with, right? Including then a young Tom Cruise. And, you know, to me, I still think he's probably, you know, one of the best actors out there. He could literally play any role if he wanted to. I would like to see him do. I would like to see him do. Jack Reacher was as close as you get, kind of a serious movie. I'd like to see, you know, he did a couple of movies back in his younger days as well, which were very impressive. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're never gonna get another one, like another Tom Cruise. He's a one-off man, and as long as he's acting, we should be enjoying it. No matter even if he is a crazy Scientologist. That's what I mean. But I think he will eventually. I think after Maverick as well. I say Maverick actually shocked him. I mean, the reaction Maverick got. He's on a high. Like, Cheryl was actually joking last night to me. She goes, "Have you got a thing for Tom Cruise?" Because I've been literally watching Tom Cruise movies. As long as well as watching actually the Marvel movies. So I've watched all the Mission Impossible movies. I've watched the Jack. Now I saw the first Jack Reacher movie when it came out, but I couldn't remember it that much, to be quite honest with you. But I watched it again and it was actually very good. And the second part is great. So I've watched. Look, I'm up to date on all these movies now. Is what I'm trying to say. I kind of stopped watching these movies after a while when you start coming out with all that madness. But then, you know, I've gotten older now, and look, you've got to. It's the same with Mel Gibson. I could separate the craziness from the director or the actor, you know, and that's what you have to do. And in fairness to Tom Cruise, he has toned down his rhetoric over the last few years anyway, hasn't he? But look, he's one of the last remaining greats. Does his own stunts still to this day. He's even broken a few bones doing it. That's what I mean, Chris. Nobody ever wanted a spin off the Top Gun. Right, so he broke his back, so she has to kill him. But you can see during this movie, I love it, but you can actually see throughout the movie, Tom Cruise character starts losing, you know, his mind a little bit. See, as I said, if this movie was made today, everybody would, the objectivity has gone out the window. and they'd say that, oh, it's disgraceful that an actor like Tom Cruise is. I love this training sequence though, because when he starts getting good. Have you tried everything? Options. He's basically asking, did sex. How many times? And she just killed him. Oh, you get squashed there. Ugh. Emily Blunt is good for this role, and she's good for The Quiet Place as well, because she doesn't really smile that much. But she's actually a good actress. Now, I'm finished. That was nice. But never again. Well, we keep fucking saying that, but we always fucking end up buying it again. I need to know now, if you love me again. Now, just bear with me for a second, guys. Just bear with me there. Just getting a nice drink. A drink. Drink thick or speak. Right. Now, that's like, nah, that's a bit too much for the old stomach to take. Nice. Let me see. I do love these creatures though, man. Whoever designed those creatures, it's brilliant concept, man. I honestly thought though that this movie could be a franchise. Remember, if you think about a Tom Cruise up until he did up until he did actually it would be Edge of Tomorrow. No, because there's only one movie. No, what am I talking about? No, Mission Impossible. He never really did franchises. Remember, before Mission Impossible came along, he was doing different sorts of movies. But Maverick now has a sequel. I mean, Top Gun now has a sequel, I should say. This movie more than likely is going to get a sequel. He seems to be thinking about sequels. I wonder if there's any movies that he's done back in his past that he could do a sequel to that actually everybody would like to see a sequel of. I always wanted to see a second Minority Report, but obviously the way that one ended with the precogs being released and shit, like obviously. Well, I mean, you could think a way around it to do a second one, but I wouldn't have minded a Minority Report sequel. Is there any Tom Cruise movie, guys, that you have watched that you thought, yeah, that I would like to see a sequel of that, and he's never got one? Not now, says well, he who needed the extra push-ups. See, you can see now he's kind of like, because he's been dying and all the time, and it just that would take its toll on you. He always has a thing for motorbikes, though, doesn't he? Tom Cruise. He must have a motorbike fetish. I got Maverick, so I'm good. Says Tim. I suppose, yeah, you got a point. I mean, look, nobody saw that coming, right? But I remember when everybody saw the trailer. This was one movie when everybody saw the trailer. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. And did it let anybody down? No, it didn't. It's Tom Cruise's biggest movie. By the way, you can have some of me chocolates if you want to. Instead of eating them, you can have the chocolates, the good chocolates. There's some O'Brien's chocolates in there. No, I'll just like, because I knew that's what gives you. Come on, take the chocolates. Right, well, eat your apple sticks first and then have the chocolate. Jesus. I love this part because while they're going to get to London now and destroy London. Go on! Take it down! London had fallen. Oh, money messing. Imagine you were there, living there, and you are looking at the Thames and you're seeing all of these things coming towards you. You'd shit yourself. That was actually not a bad movie with Mel Gibson. That was with Jodie Foster, wasn't it? Maverick. Yeah, that movie gets a bit of stick, but I actually did like that. Look, Mel Gibson's Mel. He's a bit of a look. We know he's a bit of a crazy, but as an actor, he's a top range actor, man. I actually think he's a great director as well. I'd like to see him now just direct, stay out of the spotlight, just direct your movies now, because some of the movies he's been in, I've watched, these low budget movies, and you could tell that he's heartbroken, man, when he's in these roles, because he knows he's better than what he's in. But he's the better. He might be even in a couple of same with fucking Bruce Willis. It broke me heart seeing him in these low budget fucking sci-fi movies, and you could tell that he just heartbroken. You could tell him that eyes. But you see that Planet Hollywood shit. It screwed them all over. That's why, Sylvester Stallone started doing the Expendables series as well. Him, Arnold, and Bruce Willis, they opened Planet Hollywood, which was a great idea at the time. And there was a Planet Hollywood over here, and they were over here, and they made such a big deal out of it. But it just, for whatever reason it was, it just never really took off, and they lost. They actually all lost an awful lot of money. So over the years, they've had to do these low budget, stupid fucking movies. Now I've watched them. Some of them are actually pretty. I will say this though, some of them are actually pretty decent and don't deserve the score that they've gotten. They're actually pretty good. There's a good story. It's just the rest of the supporting cast not well known, so the movie gets panned. But there was a couple of with Mel Gibson that I watched, where Mel Gibson's still on top form, and he just seemed to raise the game all of the other actors around him, which was great. But it's always the same in ex-CIA or ex-army, or so it's a stereotypical role, or they'll play a police officer that, like, he lost this high profile case, or Victor or something like that, and he's devastated. He gets a redeeming arc and all of this. Oh, this is where this I love, but this is where the movie start getting a bit where I had to really think. There's actually see, the thing that kind of pissed me off about this scene was, why didn't she fucking uncouple the bleeding fucking trailer in the first place? Like, just made no sense. See? Yeah, but what that done is to stir up all the other ones. They're fucked. Like, yeah. See, here's the thing for me. I love the Lethal Weapon franchise, right? And obviously, by the time they got to the fourth one, the tone of the movies had kind of, they weren't as they weren't as gritty as the first two, right? But it's a franchise that we all love, and the other two movies weren't bad movies. I'm not saying they were bad movies; they weren't. They were actually very good movies. They just hadn't got the grittiness of the first two. The problem I have with the fifth one, or the rumored fifth one, is the fact that Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are both old men now. I mean, how is it even going to work? Even in the fourth one, they were joking in the fourth one how they had become, they'd slowed down and not being the same as they were in the first two movies. So I'm not saying it's going to be a bad movie, and I'm pretty sure they have come up with a good idea. But do we really need a fifth movie is the question I'm really trying to ask. Because I think the fourth movie, with them all getting together and taking the photograph, and they say we are family, and then they ended there, was the perfect ending to that franchise. I don't see why they have to do a fifth. And here's another one as well. How many of the original actors and actresses are still alive? Like, I actually don't. I know you're saying it might be interesting, but I think this is one movie. It's like the Indiana Jones movie. Now, I'm not going to be like everybody else and say I'm writing it off straight away. I will give it a go, right? But to me, Harrison Ford is what, 78 or whatever it is, 80 something. I don't know what it is, right? He's in his 70s or 80s anyway, right? Do we really want to see a 70-year-old or an 80-year-old Harrison Ford trying to be Indiana Jones? this is what me difficulty would be over Lethal Weapon 5. Both of those actors are not getting any younger. And it just seems to me it's another Hollywood fucking, well, what franchises were great? Oh yeah, look, that left on 4 and it was still a very good franchise. Let's add a 5th movie to it. Anyway, all that said, I will give Lethal Weapon 5 a go for the simple reason is I'm a huge fan of the franchise. I mean, those first 2 movies, I mean, are brilliant. They're highly emotional as well. People ask the question whether they're Christmas movies or not. I mean, I watched Lethal Weapon 1 and 2 over the Christmas period. So for me, you know, that's when I watched them. I watched them over the Christmas. I watched the whole movie franchise over the Christmas, actually. I bleeding love it. It's like Back to the Future. There's like every year around now from October to December now, I will start watching the likes of Back to the Future, the likes of Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop franchise, another 48 hours and another 48 hours. But I'll give it a go. But just don't ruin it, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, everybody was probably saying the same thing about Maverick, I suppose, and look how that turned out. So, you know, as I said though, I won't write it off like most people. Same with Indiana Jones 5. I'm not gonna write that movie off. Even though people have a problem with Kathleen Kennedy and Disney or whatever the fucks. You know, I don't care. You know, I'll give the movie a go. Oh, well, actually, that could be an interesting concept. They don't have to focus for the action. That's where Riggs' kid and Murtaugh's grandkid take center stage when they come in towards the end, similar to Christopher Lloyd in Nobody. Or it could be that the grandkids are working on a case and it harps back to one of the cases that the 2 lads have worked on and it drags them out of retirement or something and they help their grandkids. That would be great. Because then you could have some comedic moments with the 2 old guys. It would be actually funny. But again, it's not going to have the gritty tone of the first 2 movies. It'll probably carry on the tone from part 3 onwards. This is where he tells her this is as far as she goes. That's what I would like them to do, Tim. If they were going to make the 5th one, the grandkids are working on a case, yeah, right? Or even bring Chris Rock back as fucking, you know, because he was with Murtaugh's daughter. You could have him as the detective, right? And he has to get the 2 lads to come out of retirement because he's working on a case that connects back to them in the old days. That would be. I'd actually love to see Chris Rock leading a Lethal Weapon movie. Especially after Will Smith bitch slapped him. And Will Smith made an apology video. I don't know if you've all seen. All I will say is that it did sound sincere, but it was cringy as fuck and he needs to get away from Jada. Or he'll never be the man that he wants to be, because you could tell he's heartbroken. He knows he did wrong, and he did do wrong. I even said it. He did do wrong. He should have probably, if he wanted to slap him in the face, he should have done it backstage or had words with him backstage. He shouldn't have done it so publicly. But you could tell he's the shadow of the man that he was. And that's all her. I don't care what anybody says. People say he's responsible for his own actions. Yes, he is, 100%. But we've got to analyse it. How did he get to this place in his life? Right? And we all know how he got there. Right? And the more people that come out against her, the better. He needs to get away from her. Chris Rock. Listen, Chris Rock was in a movie years ago with Anthony Hopkins, right? It was called. Oh man, I only watched it the other day. What was it called? It was hold on. And I'd advise you to go and actually watch the movie. Seriously, I know you are all taking the piss out of him and stuff, right? But this movie, Bad Company, is the name of the movie. It was released in 2002. Chris Rock plays a character whose twin is working for the CIA, and his twin gets killed. So the CIA then, headed by Anthony Hopkins, well, he's the fella that was working with Chris Rock's twin brother, tried to recruit him and tried to get him to finish this deal that his brother was working on. And it's a great movie because it's a movie where Chris actually has to act serious in it. And there are, obviously, because he is a comedian, there are some funny moments in it. But this is a good movie. So, seriously, I would check out Bad Company and tell me that he wouldn't work for my version of Lethal Weapon 5, where he's the detective now and he gets the lads to come back. Seriously, watch Bad Company, 2002, starring Anthony Hopkins and Chris Rock. Great movie. Oh, this is where he decides to not involve her. Oh, that was a great show. Everybody hates Chris. Look, Chris Rock to me and Will Smith are both fucking idiots, right? Because Chris Rock's coming out with all this bollocks that he's going to joke about the slap and all of this. Like, get over yourself, you know? And Will Smith as well, right? You've apologized now. Yeah, but both you get over yourselves, you know? We've all gotten over it, you know? Like, just forget about it now. You know, the more you keep it in the public eye, the more we get annoyed that you're just looking for attention now. Nobody gives a shit, right? Chris, get over the fact that he slapped you in the face. Will, get over the fact that your wife controls you and actually leave her and do the right bleeding thing, yeah? But look at this fella now. He's Cruz's character now. See, he just doesn't give a fuck anymore. Seriously, man. I love Tom Cruise. Love his acting. He's made some good movies, man. Of course, The Mummy was obviously a disaster, but I can't fault his performance in The Mummy. But I was so much looking forward to that movie because the original Mummy franchise with Brendan Fraser, I loved. And that's an actor that I'm glad to see back as well, is Brendan Fraser. Oh man, listen, He's made some terrible movies, but his good movies are really good. But I think why everybody loved Brendan Fraser was he was so humble, down to earth, and he had no airs and graces about him, you know. And then we found out all the things about him that was happening and why he wasn't working in Hollywood anymore. And I was actually devastated for him. I was devastated. Hollywood again being the creepy, dirty place that it is. Like his career is getting ruined, but the people that ruined him didn't face any consequences. But I'm glad to see him back. There's an interview that he did with some woman, and she's telling him how she's delighted to see him back and stuff. And they'd talk about the fans, how they love that he's back, and he nearly had me crying. He did, because he got very emotional, and you could tell even when he was talking about being in a movie with the great director, fucking what's his face? He does the Irishman, Scorsese. You could tell he was just loving being loved being back. I hope now over the next few years now he can recapture the career that he had, because he is an actor that deserves everything that comes his way good. He's a fucking great actor, Brendan Fraser. And I love the Mummy franchise, even though the last few movies kind of sucked. Same here. He deserves it, man. He is underrated. You're absolutely right. He is under. I watched Blast from the Past there a few months back. Right, that's the movie with himself and what's his name? Fucking. I have his face in my head. Um. Oh, Christopher Walken. There you go. I knew it eventually. Yeah, great movie, Blast from the Past. And Alicia Silverstone. Every teenage boy had a crush on Alicia Silverstone. I certainly did. Seriously, man. Yeah, I did have a crush on Alicia Silverstone growing up. Again, another actress for me that was very underrated. Very underrated, Alicia Silverstone. I loved when he tries to explain the story to Brendan Gleason. This is one of the best scenes of this movie. I'm sorry if I'm quiet. It's just this is what you call great writing. Tom Cruise is not normally in bad movies. I say he does regret the Mummy though. I love Brendan Gleeson as well. I have already made that clear to you as all. I couldn't believe that he just handed it over to him, but I kind of knew that the general here was not just gonna let it go. Like they were so close. Like the general. Like come on, general. The car chase now. Oh, I love this scene. It's funny. The statue. Oh, not the Statue of Liberty. The Eiffel Tower has fallen over, but the Louvre, the pyramid is still standing. I have to say, London looks like a nice place to visit. Does. Oh, he's lost the power now. Yeah, but man, this is a screwed up movie. Oh, you're screwed. You got the blood now. You've lost the power. You've lost it. It's too late, mate. You've lost the power. It's gone. I love the fact you're not going to be able to get out, mate. Don't forget to hit that like button, folks, and share and subscribe. And next week we'll be doing a good few member streams because we got to catch up on the old member streams. So don't worry about that. We'll get those done. And hopefully there might be some more Doctor Who news as well. But so now he's lost the power now, but he's fully trained now. This is what I love about, and then he recruits. He's the team. That was honourable, though, wasn't it? The fella that's fighting because his mate died, and he wanted to make sure that his mate's family was all right, so he took his name and fought in the war, so the checks would go to his friend's family. I think that's nice. And is that a young what's his face? Um, what's the actor's name that was in the new Star Wars movie? But like they literally wrecked his character. John Boyega. Is that him? Is that a young John Boyega, whatever his name is? It looks like it. Ah, give us a part two, for fuck's sake, man. Watching this movie again just reminded me how good this fucking film actually is. Tom Cruise was just on a just movie after movie he was making until we got to the Mummy, of course. But movie after movie, man. I don't think Tom Cruise makes a bad movie anymore. Here's one for you. Me man, dad like the new Mummy movie. They actually enjoyed it, believe it or not. Um, I love how the fact that like she was training him, but now he's like to her, we're gonna need eyes, basically in the air, basically telling her that she has to stay. She's like, "No, I'm going with you." Wasn't it? Okay, okay. It looks like him, though. I have to be honest. It does look like him. Some of these lads in J Squad were deadly, though. I have to say. Right, they've landed. I have to say, the way they have France, the way it's done here is actually pretty amazing. So, did everybody have a good day today? Well, I know some of you are still probably in the middle of the day, but how's it going so far? Everybody good? Well, I had to drop from the airplane, land in the water, then I had to swim and then come all the way over here. So why you on me back, bitch? We're low on ammo. You just went into a bleeding. You just went into Paris with Harley. That was the one scene that actually annoyed me. How the fuck did it? I suppose though, if you think of their helicopter did blow up and maybe all the ammo was on that, but you think they would have carried a lot of ammo. But maybe that's just me, or maybe I just don't understand how it works. But yeah, so far so good. Now watching a good movie makes the day easier. I agree. I agree. I have to say when. Oh yeah, I kind of slept in today, which is the first time in a long time. And when I got up, I was feeling icky. As you do, I just wasn't feeling right. Obviously, I got me cup of coffee into me. I still wasn't feeling right, and then I had a bit of food that you heard there. I was eating, but I actually feel good now. I actually feel great now. But it's because the movie I'm watching. I'm actually, yeah. Well, talking about movies, you will see pinned to the chat though. Just before I read the other comments out, I do have the Twitter poll pinned to the chat there. So if you haven't voted, there's 4 movies there. Go ahead. Tim says I got off early today because Canadian long weekend, and I'm glad I did. Yeah, I do like the long weekends myself, Tim. Have to say. I do. Sometimes we do, man, don't they, when they drag? But no, I think we have. I don't know when their next long weekend is, but I tell you, I could do it one. Even though you don't, I'm not doing that. Though you know, the long week. I don't know what it is, but just the extra day. Even though it's the same, do you know what I mean? But it's like the Monday is still like a Sunday, so it's just weird. I don't know, but I do like the extra day. Good scenes coming up here now. The two mates. Man, this is crap. The effects in this movie are just out there. And I have to say, these creatures, they're just they're just unbelievable, man. That's just why I think this does deserve a franchise. I'm being honest, it does. Those eight, or at least do a prequel or something. But do something with these creatures because I tell you, they're bleeding deadly. Look at that. The mimics. They're called the mimics. But the mimics, they should, I'm telling you now, man, they should even do maybe a prequel, show them on other worlds, destroying other worlds or something. But I would love to see, if Tom Cruise is not going to do a direct sequel, do a prequel, man. I'd be down for a prequel. I know we give out about prequels and unnecessary sequels, but this one you could, if it's the same people that were behind the first one, though. But Tom brings in a lot of his own people, though, doesn't he? So if it's going to be done, it's going to be done with Tom Cruise. So more than likely a sequel. Or you could do a prequel with Tom Cruise. Remember, he said he owned a advertising firm. So you could show the early days of the invasion and how he survived to get to and then become Major Cage. Maybe. Right. So there, the movie. So basically the whole premise of the movie is the mimics actually do want to lose because the mimics are in this curse and they need to break it. They want to lose. They've got a course to break. Edge of Tomorrow is a course strongly associated with the 1993 classic Groundhog's Day. So the mimics actually wanted to lose this fight all along, apparently. So that's what you could do. You could do a prequel where they get the course, right? And then do a sequel then to Edge of Tomorrow then. Obviously they come back then, the course is broken, and then it's a proper alien versus man, woman kind of defense, or alien versus man. Just let's keep it simple. Where humanity has to fight the mimics again. But the thing about it is, right, okay, if that's the case, if they wanted to lose so badly, why did they make it so hard? I suppose they probably had to, they couldn't control that maybe. Maybe their nature just took over, even though they knew they had to lose. They just couldn't fight that instinct of wanting to kill. Interesting. That's something now. Because that's not the way I interpret it. You know, I didn't interpret the movie that way, but well, that's what it's saying. I'm after reading it there. I know it's a bit weird, isn't it? It doesn't actually make sense, though, does it? So, what do the mimics want in Edge of Tomorrow? The mimics do want Earth to launch a massive counterattack, but they don't want to win that do or die fight. They want to lose. They've got a course to break. Edge of Tomorrow. So So when he wakes up at the end of this movie in the helicopter, that's the new loop. It goes back to the original loop where there wasn't a course. So basically, you know, the war still happening because then we get to see that they start winning the war. But then you see that scene right at the end that makes it suggest that all is not quite what it seems. But I just, I agree, that makes no sense. Why would they make it so hard for him to actually defeat them if they wanted to be defeated in the first place? I, but look, that's what it says. We'll have to check that one out, won't we, Chris? Because that's an interesting one. There you go. So he's woke up in the helicopter now. So this is the new loop. This is the new loop now. This is the what the original timeline should have been, apparently, according to the what I've just read. Yeah, he becomes the Omega. Yeah. Hmm. Mm. J Squad's back. But this was a bit of an optimistic end because in reality, when he killed them, it shouldn't have really went back to the loop. But of course, all that blue crap went on him, so I suppose it makes sense him being the alpha now. But yeah, I mean, she's giving out to a major. Need to know now. Know now. I love that song as well. That song annoyed a lot of people when it was released in the UK and Ireland. It did go to number one, but everybody got sick of it real quickly. I love it. I love it. And it's perfect for this movie as well. I need to know now. Know now. Can you love me again? Seriously, the creative team behind this deserve an awful lot of praise. The the special effects spot on, the acting top notch. I think Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise work well together. I would love to see another movie with the two of them. Unfortunately, Bill Paxton is not around anymore. That's sad. Um, because if he was around, I'm pretty sure they would have him in the movie. Um, but it's brilliant. I love the whole concept of the mimics. I love the suits that they put these soldiers in to try win the war. As I said, Brendan Gleason for me is an underrated actor. In Ireland, he isn't. We know what he is. He's one of our own. Um, and you know, as I said, he came into acting late in his career, and he's just absolutely brilliant. And his sons are rocking it now in the acting world. It's great to see. But again, this is another top Tom Cruise movie. And Tom kind of, you know, we've noticed over the last few years, he's kind of producing and developing his own movies now. And Edge of Tomorrow is one of them. So long may it continue. But I'm going to give this movie, I can't believe it. I haven't read the novel. I haven't read the novel. So I can't comment on the novel. But yeah, everybody gets kudos, Tim. Obviously, you know, the screen that would have been adapted, and if they got those people involved as well, well then absolutely. But I think it's a great movie. It's not boring at all. It's pretty, you know, it gets to the point pretty quick, doesn't it? There's no pricking around and straight into it, and I just love it. But you can the range of emotion that Major Cage goes through in the movie. You could see in parts of the movie where he just doesn't care anymore because you know, he keeps dying. That would take its toll on you because he remembers that there's something going on. So yeah, for me, I don't know if I've ever done this for a movie before, but I am going to rate this movie a 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10. Um, I can't. There's no. I can't judge it off the novel, right? So maybe that people that have read the novel can judge it off that and whether the movie did do the novel justice. But for me, as I haven't read the novel, I'm just judging it off this movie, and I have to admit, there's not. This movie does not bore me. It keeps me engaged all the way through. And as I said, everybody's performance is brilliant. And the story is pretty good. It's a top notch, man. And I love the mimics. I'd love to see the mimics again. I love their design. They're absolutely cool looking, man. It's just a great movie. So I'm actually giving it. I'm giving it a 10. I'm giving it a 10 because I can't judge it off the novel, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Let's see what everybody in the chat gives the movie. So but the key movies are based on and not a direct adaptation, says Chris. I rate this as a 9 out of 10 solid story. Tim gives it an 8.5 out of 10, which I still think are both strong marks. I don't think when we do a movie, we normally give them a high score, do we, guys? Because let's be honest, we're very fussy, haven't we, when we do the movies? Because if it's a decent movie, we'll get through. But if it's a very good movie, as you said, time flew. We had a good time. So yeah, very impressed. But for me, that is a great movie. Yeah, 8 out of, that's what I'm saying, man. 8.5 out of 10. Obviously, yeah, that would be classed as a great movie. Ant over 8, isn't it? Or is it 7? Ant over 7 is classed as very good, and the ratings are excellent. So yeah, you're right, man. It is an excellent movie. But here, just to let you know now, because we do have another poll. We've already got the other poll up a couple of days already. I wanted to get it up early. And so far, I'll give you the 4 movies that we have. MCTV is in the chat. Welcome. Guys, if you haven't voted on the Twitter poll, it's pinned to me Twitter account. But here are the 4 movies for next week that I have chosen. So the 4 movies are Inner Space, E.T., Enemy Mine, and Starman, right? Now, you'll probably ask why the heck did I pick those movies. Right, I'm just going to, bar the last time where I let people vote on it, where I let people pick movies. All the movies that I'm picking for the polls are movies that I have watched during my childhood or my adult life. So these movies will basically give you an insight into the kind of taste of movies that I have. Now, obviously, I focused a lot on sci-fi right at the moment, but we won't always focus on sci-fi and space. There are other movies out there that I do like, and I like thrillers, and I like crime, and I like, you know what I mean? I'm an eclectic. I love loads of different type of movies, but I've just focused on sci-fi for the moment. So all of these movies that I'm picking are basically movies that I grew up with, movies that that I enjoyed, movies that some movies even that I've picked that have inspired me, and some that have made me cry. And that's why I included E.T. this week. Now, I haven't watched this in a long time, and if it does win the vote, it's leading right now. I'll give you the percentages now in a second. But if it does, the end of that movie as a kid always made me cry. I couldn't get through that end of that movie. So I'll be interested to see will the movie still have the same impact as an adult. And that's why I've put these movies in. So in last place at the moment, which I am surprised of, because this is one of my favorite movies, but I thought it actually would have polled better than it did. But Inner Space at the moment is on 9%. So that's last place. In third place at the moment is Starman with 15%. In second place on 32% right now is Enemy Mine. And of course, as I just mentioned there, E.T. is on 44% and actually has a decent lead there. But there are only 34 votes so far. There are 5 days and 5 hours until the poll ends. So if you could do me a favor, if you could go in, retweet it onto your accounts, please. And if you haven't voted, please vote. Even if you're not going to be here for a movie stream, if there's a movie there, just vote for it that you like, that you say, oh yeah, I like that movie, I'll vote for that movie. Just vote anyway, guys, because it does be interesting to see, because again, it gives me an insight to see what people on Twitter like as well. And some of the polls have been very interesting choices. Some movies that I thought would do well ended up doing very badly. And again, Inner Space is one of those movies that I actually thought would do well. But obviously, it's not doing well right now. But there you go. There's Tim said he voted yesterday. Fantastic. Well, we'll see what wins. Look, I'm kind of a good predictor at these polls. If ET is winning now, it's more than likely going to be ET. And I mean, everybody will have to get their tissues ready. Because well, I remember as a kid the bleeding movie tore me to shreds. Especially when I thought E.T. was dead. That was horrifying. Man. Jesus. I have to say, even family movies back in the day, they didn't shield us from death or life, did they? You know what I mean? They did it. You know, and as kids we felt the emotion. The adults felt it as well. And then he comes back to life. We're all happy again. And then by the end of the movie, then he's leaving Elliot and we're all in bits again. Especially when his finger lights up and he goes, I'll be right here. As a kid, I just lost it. Tears down the eyes. Oh, Tim is not a fan of E.T. It looks like. That's, do you know what? I have to be honest. You've left me speechless there. You're probably the first person I've ever came across that doesn't like E.T. I actually find that hard to process. To me, along with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I consider them up there as obviously truly great sci-fi movies. Obviously, Stanley Kubrick's movies also, I'm not going to discount them. They're up there as well. But oh my God, you're I really, seriously, man. And it's not a bad thing. It's just it's 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 an unusual thing to see. Look, I had the same reaction when Cheryl told me that she has never seen the Back to the Future trilogy. And that baffles me still to this day that she hasn't watched Back to the Future. Oh my God. Oh. Cheryl, do you like the movie E.T.?
Yeah, everyone loves E.T.
No, not everybody loves E.T.
Everyone who's soul loves E.T.
Tim, right, Tim, he said it's all right. It's all right. But you can't say that because you haven't watched the Back to the Future trilogy, so.
Okay, not watching it and not liking it are different things.
Well, still, it still baffles me.
E.T. and saying that I don't like E.T. I mean, that's just blasphemy.
Enemy Mine gets an unfair shake. It does. I actually look. I love E.T. and E.T. probably would is probably going to win the poll, but I'm going to be honest. Enemy Mine for me. If that wins, I'll be absolutely delighted. I do think that movie gets a lot of stick. So we'll see if that wins. It's interesting right now. It's in second place, but there's only 36 votes, so all it'll take is a few votes to kind of change it. Chris says, hold on, it's all right. I watched it twice, once in the 80s and a few years ago, says Tim. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, look, obviously, as I said.
Is there anything else you want to say about?
No. I just never came across anybody. It's like when you told me you didn't watch the Back to the Future trilogy. You had that, like, I couldn't believe that you'd never seen Back to the Future. It's like the fact that someone says that they think E.T. is all right. It's just all right. I'm baffled by that because everybody loves that movie.
It's just all right.
Tim, that's what I said. That's why I asked, did you love E.T.?
Yeah, I just heard you.
Chris says, though, I loved E.T. as a kid. Was one of the few kids that loved playing the E.T. game on my Atari. Listen, I had loads. I had loads of E.T. Listen, had loads of E.T.
But you didn't have an Atari 2600 with the E.T. game.
Who gives a crap? I had.
Apparently, Chris and I do.
I had the E.T. spaceship, right? And you wound it up, right? And you put it on the ground, and it go across along the ground it would, right? And then the roof of it would lift open, and a little ET would pop out, right? You just didn't have that, ha ha ha. And I actually had an ET toy. I feckin' loved ET. But we watched it a few years back. It didn't resonate. Close Encounters of the Third Kind is better. So basically, what you are saying is, as a kid, it had more of an impact than it did as an adult. Well, you see, that's what I mean. I haven't watched E.T. in a few years, so if we did watch it, I'd probably feel the same as the lads. But
really, I don't know. You still get pretty much.
I do get them out.
Ridiculous about your stupid space movie.
Yeah.
The time traveling kid.
Yeah, Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, I do love Flight of the Navigator.
Come on now.
Yeah, it's like the space travel kid. Well, at least you kind of knew what it was. Yeah, I loved Flight of the Navigator. Flight of the Navigator is a cracking movie. And even as an adult, it's still a cracking movie. My wife said she never watched any Star Trek or Star Wars before she married me. It was almost a cause to break up, says Tim. Jesus Christ, man. Like, Cheryl is a big Star Wars head. But yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Some women, though, back then, but that's the way it is. Like the thing about today is that, like, they talk about modern fandom, that women are this, that, and the other, and they're left out. There's far more women in sci-fi now in fandom than there ever was, and women are just as big as fans of sci-fi as we are. I couldn't imagine that. Like, it was great when I heard Cheryl was a Doctor Who fan. Like, that was, finally had someone that loved the TV show that I loved, because you do need those things in common, don't you? Yes, Close Encounters is way better, Chris. Yeah, but here's the weird thing. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, while I liked it as a kid, I also found it very boring. So maybe my attitude will change if we ever. Do you know what? I'll put that movie in a poll along with a few other crackers, though, to make it hard, so it's not a one-way victory. Yeah, that was the key demo. Yeah, well, it was more of a kid. I wonder how our parents felt then, because we were getting all emotional and all of that stuff. I wonder if they, as adults, they actually didn't like that movie, or didn't feel about it the same way we did as kids. Don't know. Interesting one. But anyway, as I said, that's the poll there. ET is in the lead. So as I said, if you want to retweet it every couple of days, and even encourages our own subscribers, use our own followers, I should say, to vote on the poll, even if they're not going to be there, just get them to vote and see if you can get that vote changed. But I am actually very surprised that Inner Space is actually in last place on that poll at the moment. That's a very funny movie. It's a great movie as well. I actually love it. And you've got Meg Ryan in it when she was hot. You know, Martin Short. Obviously, he's funny as feck. And what's his name? Mr. Quaid. Oh, what's his fecking name? I can never get it. I always get mixed up with Randy Quaid. What's the other? Dennis. Yeah, which is funny because I put two of his movies in the poll. And I thought those two movies, yeah, well, one is actually doing well, the other one is not doing so well. I wish I could vote, have to create a new Twitter. I'm actually watching Near Dark last night and we'll finish it tonight during dinner, says Tim. Fantastic. What you call it? Yeah, I've been watching Alien Nation, as I said, and stuff like that. So, yeah. What? They're not nice, are they not?
No, they are just saved somewhere.
Okay. Well, you know, we have the other sticky toffee.
I'm just really sad.
I know. No, it's good. Sorry. The door does that. The window is open. So, yeah. Anyway. Obviously, you know, we got the news yesterday. It was very sad, man. Everybody is still in shock. No, do you mean the TV series Alienation? Yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to watch the movie. You see, I done it again, like I did when I was growing up as a kid. See, I watched the series first, and then I watched the movie after the fact. But the movie, the TV series was based off the movie, so I've been watching the series. But I tell you something, right? I'll tell you something, right? If the YouTubers that are complaining about shit every day were to watch this show now, right, and review it with the way they review other stuff right now, Alienation would be absolutely destroyed by them, right? They would call it the wokest thing. Listen, I don't see. This is the thing. I think, as I said, I think objectivity has been lost over the last few years. And context as well. And you know, everything, as I said, is a hire for this, that, and the other. And it's not always the case. But this show would be literally slated today. As I said, this movie that we just watched, if this movie was released tomorrow, right, this movie would be slated because Emily Blunt makes Tom Cruise's character look like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? I'm still upset. I went to a comedy gig last night to cheer myself up, and I still can't. I know, mate. It's this. Look, thing about it is, we all know he was 93, but you know, this one is hard to take in the fandom. All right. Even the other side, I have to give it to them. You know, even some that have caused problems in the fandom, they were actually very respectful. I think everybody has been very respectful. Now, there are a few things that I've seen on YouTube. I'm going to call it out because, you know, I think it's actually quite disgusting. But people out there, if you put in Bernard Cribbins dead, right, into YouTube, and if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of these channels that aren't Doctor Who channels, and they're framing their videos like Bernard Cribbins' last emotional moments before death, and people putting coffins in their thumbnails in their videos. And these are people that don't talk about Doctor Who. They're like these. Do you ever hear these like kind of bot accounts that YouTube have admitted that exist? you know, they have a certain amount of subscribers, but their videos get thousands of views and all of this. So I was scrolling down, and it's not from Doctor Who fans, by the way. I want to make that clear. These are from accounts that are clearly not talking about Doctor Who and have weird names. And they're putting coffins in their thumbnails and an emotional last, and his cause of death was another one. Like he literally died yesterday. It's disgusting. But YouTube, again, you're seeing it yourselves as well. Like in this chat, you're seeing those bots popping up, right? They're popping up in music videos. Well, you go and watch your favorite music video now, you'll see those bot accounts are turned. They're all bots. But you see, YouTube is so focused on trying to censor people and deplatform people that they're actually forgetting that their job is to make it a safe environment for everybody. And I get making YouTube a safe environment for kids because, you know, they should make it a safe environment for kids. And that's why they have YouTube Kids. But that's where all these bots started off in. And then they move over because YouTube will, obviously, because it's YouTube Kids. I don't know if you've all heard about it, but a few years back, there were bot accounts out there, and there were actually real live accounts that were doing content for kids, right? But when they went to watch the cartoons were literally violence. The cartoon characters slaughtering each other and stuff like that. So YouTube had to deal with that. And then they found a way, these people around the algorithm, by putting weird symbols in the heading of the video so they couldn't be tracked by YouTube. Right, that's fine, fair enough. You're doing all of that for the kids, that's fine. But why don't you do it for the whole platform? Because the whole platform is suffering now. There's these bots that are actually putting porn into your comment section. Right? They're coming into your live chat now. And I've only noticed that seems to be a new thing that's happening lately, is they're coming into live chats now. Right? But YouTube would rather spend their time on, you know, updating their policies, because they're going to update. There's another major, you know, kids policy coming out now. So more COVID nonsense that we have to agree to now, that's going to make it harder to stream. Right? Instead of focusing on the whole platform. But I will say something, in fairness, YouTube Kids is fine. But I don't think there's, I don't know how it works, because I'm not obviously on YouTube Kids. But I don't know if it's separate to the main YouTube and they're blocked from using main YouTube. But that's what I would do. Block the kids from using main YouTube and just have YouTube Kids, and that's it. They can't find any other stuff. I don't know how it works. But those bots are getting out of hand. But YouTube is focusing on the wrong thing, right? They'd rather focus on censoring people and banning channels, and then channels are getting unfairly banned as well, which we're seeing a lot. That seems to be happening a lot. Lots of channels seem to be getting hacked as well. Like, YouTube are supposed to be on top of this. They're the experts. It's their platform. They're supposed to make sure that we're all secure on it. But instead, they go after channels that they deem to be toxic or spreading misinformation and all of this. You can't have a discussion on YouTube anymore. But those other platforms that all these YouTubers go onto, you know, at the end of the day, they bitch and moan about YouTube. Most of their revenue is made on YouTube. So whether we like it or not, you know, the only way that we can make YouTube change is if we all decide to leave YouTube. But YouTube know that we won't. And that'll never happen. None of these big YouTubers that threatened to do less content on YouTube are doing less content on YouTube. They're not. And they can say they are, but they're not. They're doing more content on YouTube. YouTube is the big revenue stream. All those other... That's why I haven't joined. People kept... You know, this is why I decided against Patreon. Right? Because as you know, I was seriously considering it. But then I was thinking, but what's the point? You know, YouTube is where I feel comfortable on anyway. And everybody that and the community that we've built up is on YouTube. So why should I go somewhere else? And I just didn't do that. So that's why as I said, when the members thing came along, I said, well, I'll do that because it's still on YouTube and we still have the community here. So I'm not going to bullshit everybody saying I'm going to go off to do Telegram or wherever those are, the Odyssey and all of these other yokes. They're not going to last, man. Their main revenue stream is on YouTube. They're kidding themselves. It's the same when they say they're leaving Twitter, right? They put up their videos on Twitter. It gets the most traction on Twitter. Doesn't get the most traction on all of these other platforms. And they know it. But they bitch and moan how they're going to leave Twitter all the time. That's why I don't listen to anybody anymore. Hypocrites everywhere, right? Just do your content, shut up and stop complaining, right? And this is the thing, some of them push the boundaries and then they wonder why they get earmarked or they get struck by YouTube and stuff. You deliberately do it so you can do more content to complain about how YouTube is trying to silence you. We all know the rules of the game on YouTube. You mightn't agree with them, but you've agreed to build your channel on that platform. You mightn't like certain things that they're doing in it, but we all know the rules. I've had two major incidents in 5 years on this channel. Actually, one in particular did nearly derail it. I will actually say that when Diva magazine decided to come after me, I won that, by the way, because I'm here, right? But they tried to have my channel taken down. But I've had two major incidents on this channel, and I've stayed relatively trouble-free since then. And why? I could still say the things that I say, folks, right? And I don't, and as you know yourselves, I don't kind of hold back, do I? But I know how to say it, I know how to frame it, and I know how far I can go without breaking the rules, right? And I mightn't like the rules because, we would like to be all unshackled and come out, but I'm pretty much able to say what I want to say. I don't hold back, right? Others deliberately break the rules so they could talk about how they're being picked on, and that's what I don't like. That's the point I'm trying to make. We could still all do what we need to do on here, stay within the rules, but you could still do and say all the things you want to say. It's just how you word those things. But if you word those things in a controversial manner and then YouTube target you or people report you and then YouTube do something about it, don't bitch and moan about it, because at the end of the day, we all get an email off YouTube to say when they've updated their terms and conditions. I mean, if you choose to ignore what the email is or read the email, that's fine, fair enough, but don't bitch and moan then when they come after you, right? That email is important. You read it. You're supposed to read it so you know what's going on the platform. That's the only reason why I give out, guys. I respect a lot of these people. You do know that, right? I do. I don't always agree with them either, but I'm sick of all the games that are going on. Everybody's lost perspective here. They've lost the focus. We're supposed to be fighting a pop culture war here. We're supposed to be defending our pop culture. Yeah? Where everybody's become, I'm going to play the victim now. Both sides are as bad as each other now. Not one side is worse than the other. And I'm sorry, people mightn't agree with that. But the other side that's fighting, that's supposed to be on the right side, are just getting as bad as the other side. I see it every day on Twitter. People will word tweets because they know they get a reaction out of it. Then some will retweet other people or quote tweet other people's tweet because they know then that person will react to the fact that their tweet has been quoted. And then they turn around then the other person that started it all in the first place and then try to make out that they're the victim. And this has been a trend that has been going on for about 2 years now. The first 3 years when I joined this whole thing properly, you know, everybody had a goal. It was to save our franchises and stuff. But that's gone out the window the last 2 years now. It's a free for all. People are slagging each other based off gender or pronouns, right? As I said, the right has just gotten as bad as the left, right? It's ridiculous, right? Supposed to be fighting a pop culture war, right? The thing about it is, like, you keep saying these people are idiots and all of this. Well, what do? You ignore people if you think they're idiots. Simple as that. But just keep these people in the spotlight, and then you keep banging on about it. You should be concentrating on the movies and the TV shows that you love, and criticizing the writers and the people that are behind it, how they're disrespecting your franchise. But people have lost complete all notion of all of that, and it's become a tit for tat thing now. It's sad. It's sad. I don't know anymore. We'll see what happens in the next year or two, but if it continues down the same path, nobody is winning this war or this pop culture fight. Nobody is winning it. Everybody needs to refocus their efforts, and going after people or retweeting people or quote tweeting people because you don't like what they're doing with Rings of Power is not what the fight was supposed to be all about. The people that you're actually supposed to be targeting or highlighting are the writers behind that show, and the stuff that they're doing to destroy Tolkien's work. We shouldn't be really focused on the people that support these franchises. Listen, new fandom today, they latch onto anything, right? We know that. But you see, as I said, the focus is on those people rather than the people that are behind these shows. And that's what this pop culture fight was all about. But there's people out there, and I've seen it with Twitter accounts, attacking people on our side, attacking people because of their pronouns or because of their gender or because of their religion or whatever it is, right? So as I said, nobody can tell me that the right isn't as bad as the left, because from where I'm sitting, both are just as bad as each other now. The right has become what they said they would never become, which is the left. And I don't mean in policies, I mean the way they act, right? The left are petty. The left use dirty tactics, right? But we're seeing it a lot on our side of the so-called argument now. And it's wrong. It's wrong. It's the people that are behind these shows and movie franchises are the ones that all the focus should be on. And also, what should be happening as well is the people on our side of the argument should be explaining the differences, between the original work and what these people want to do, and highlight why it's wrong and just focus on that. But I mean, I see people, for example, so Rings of Power is going to have an ice cream coming out, right? And like, people that are not even going to watch this show are complaining because Amazon has decided that they're going to bring out flavored ice cream for the Rings of Power, right? Now, I don't know where these people have been living, but this has been literally a thing for decades, right? Ghostbusters did it, right? A Christmas Story did it. Friends did it, had their own flavored ice cream. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had their own flavored ice cream. It's not the first time that movie franchises, or TV movie franchises have had ice cream, cereal, or whatever made. But the fact that they're giving out and they're not even going to watch this show, and this is the point that I'm trying to make. These people are giving out about a show that they're not even going to watch, right? Right? They've made their case that this show is not respecting Tolkien's work. Fair enough, right? But that's where they should keep their focus on, right? And if they want to keep banging on about it, that's where they should keep their focus on. But it's become pay now. Now they've brought out ice cream. They're bringing out this other stuff. Let's criticize that. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, it's fucking ice cream. Get over yourselves. Ice cream. Oh, Amazon Prime's getting desperate. They need another stream of revenue. Right? The show hasn't even been fucking released yet. And yes, she's have all ratioed the trailer. Well done. Give yourselves a pat on the back. It just seems all petty. It's like the real issues and the real fight, it just doesn't matter anymore. Right? And I'm not sitting here and saying that Rings of Power is going to be great, because by the way, I've never read the books, right? But I love the movie franchise, Lord of the Rings, and I did like the Hobbit movies. Not as great. The first Hobbit movie was great. The second Hobbit movie wasn't too bad. It's the third one that let me down anyway. Shouldn't have been split in two. In fairness, let's be honest. But I love that. I have the extended cuts of the original movies, the original Lord of the Rings. I love it, right? Do I think Rings of Power is going to be good? Well, from what I seen in the trailer and just going off the trailer alone, without knowing what they're doing with the show, I have to say the trailer looks absolutely dire to me. It didn't make me feel excited in any way to watch this show. It's the same with House of Dragon, right? But I will give House of Dragon a go, but because Matt Smith is in it. But am I really like looking forward to watching it? Not really, because after what they did with Game of Thrones, I still haven't forgotten that. And I think HBO Max or HBO have miscalculated here because of the last season of Game of Thrones, especially. Fans have still not gotten over that, whether they like it or not. Fans haven't. That's still a hot topic in the fandom. So House of Dragon to me seems a bit too soon after that, and there has not even been an attempt to come out. And I mean, they haven't even apologized. What they did was they doubled down, didn't they? They told their basically told fandom that they were stupid. So I mean, if they think people are going to come in and watch House of Dragon, you know, the ones that didn't give a shit about the show or give a shit about the ending will obviously watch it. But there's a lot of people that won't. And I'm only watching it because of Matt Smith, and I might do reviews on it, see whether if it's good or bad. You know, with that said, even though Game of Thrones did end badly, if House of Dragon actually turns out to be a good show, then they could use House of Dragon as a way to kind of fucking rectify what they did in Game of Thrones. Maybe do a flash forward to that moment and just fucking retcon the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but it's Amazon. No, it's HBO, sorry. So I don't hold any hope out. And Amazon are no better either. So this Rings of Power, I'm not really too keen on it either. But I'm not bitching and moaning about it every 5 minutes. Not bitching and moaning about ice cream. Like, leave it out. As I said, if you wanna complain about Rings of Power, then give out about the things that actually are worth giving out about. How they've changed the origins of some stuff, or they're gonna change the origins of some stuff, or they're going to, completely change the origins of a character, or it was a different character that was supposed to be here and they now changed it. They're the things that that pop culture channel should be focused on, not petty little things and going after fans who actually want to watch this. And whether you like it or not, right? Whether you like it or not, right? It's the same with Doctor Who, right? I had to get over this as well, right? Whether I like it or not, Doctor Who, right? This era of Doctor Who had a following. Now, not a very big following, let's be honest about it, but I had a following, right? And it's going to be the same with this Rings of Power, right? It's going to be the same with House of Dragon, right? All of these shows that we love, right? They're going to have a following from people that are not necessarily fans, but they're going to have a following. But going after them or quote tweeting them to try get a reaction out of them so you can bitch and moan about them on Twitter for about an hour and then do videos about them and do little stupid videos about how Twitter idiots are coming after you and all of this rubbish. Leave it out. Focus on the real stuff that needs to be focused on. Lost all common sense in this fandom, in general. That's the problem. Whenever, look at these fans of all franchises that we don't necessarily think are fans, right? They're going to be around, right? They're not going anywhere, right? And they're going to latch on to whatever franchise has an ideology that they support, right? But going after them is not the right solution here, right? That's not the right solution, right? We're supposed to be, highlighting how the creators of these shows are letting fans down by disrespecting the work of a great man. That's what fans should be focused on. And in fairness, I will say this, by the way, just for a bit of balance. There are some YouTubers out there, especially some big YouTubers, that do just focus on that. And I say fair fucking play to them. There should be more. That's my point. Everybody should be focused on that. Shouldn't be focused on some fan that just because you don't like their opinion or you don't like what they say. Fair enough, you know the law better than them, right? And they're stupid because they don't know the law. But is attacking them really a victory? Is quote tweeting them to get a reaction out of them really a victory? Is that what the culture war has become? Like a little tit for tat thing? Because that has no meaning. These people are not going to go away. You might shut some of them up temporarily, or they might block you, but they're not gone anywhere. They're still there. So the people you should be focused on are the writers, the directors, Amazon, HBO, those companies, and putting pressure on them to do the right thing and to respect the canon and respect the law. That's where the concentration should be. Do we have common sense? The fandom used to, because we are fighting the right fights. We're fighting the wrong fights now. I wasted a lot of my time on people in this fandom on the other side, and you could tell I regret that. I've wasted a lot of my time on those fans, and that's not where the fight or my argument should have been with. They're not going anywhere. They're always going to have the opinions that they have, and they're not going to change for anybody else, right? So you're talking to a brick wall there. So you focus on the people that you should be focused on, the production team, the people that are writing these stories. See, it's become a thing here that if you do that type of stuff, where you go after these fans, there seems to be some sort of badge of honor and a bit of street cred. But at the end of the day, it actually makes you look just as pathetic as the people that you're having the argument with. And yes, I'm calling myself pathetic for having those arguments. because I should have been focused on the stuff that I should have focused on and stayed focused on. I've made, look, as I said, I've been reminiscing. I haven't been always perfect on this channel. I think you all know that. I think that's why a lot of you are still with me. You know, I've made mistakes, yes. I have a few regrets, yes. But I'm trying now, and I have the last couple of years, in fact, try to look at things the way we should be looking at things, and the things we should be focused on. You know, I'm not on this channel every day, right? Like other channels are bitching about Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker still to this day. There's one more episode to go. I've said all the things I need to say about those two. It's done. They've got one more special that I have to review. I'll review it and then it's done. It's done. I'll focus on the new era and I'll focus on other things. We're all in this together, you crazy guy. I have a question. Can people who are calling themselves fans that Amazon calls super fans that have never read the novels nor watched the Peter Jackson movies be considered fans of Tolkien? No, and I can get, you make a good point there, but I'll answer it this way, right? But we know those people are going to exist, right? We already know that Amazon is going to jump on those fans and call them super fans. They did the same in Doctor Who, they did the same in Star Trek, and they did the same in Star Wars franchise. This is nothing new. But fighting those fans and having a go at those fans because Amazon have elevated those fans, right, is wrong. Sorry, but it's wrong. The people that we should be going at is Amazon for elevating them in the first place. We ignore those people. We already know that they're clueless. We already know that they're clueless. In every fandom that they're in, they're clueless. Even when we do interact with them, they show it. They're clueless. They haven't got a clue what they're talking about. We even have some in the Doctor Who fandom, even one who wrote an article to say that the timeless child almost fits into canon. These are the type of people that these companies do elevate. But there's no point of fighting them, which I did do. But that was the wrong thing to do. I should have been just focused on the people that were making the decisions and the ones that elevated them. And that's my point. That's where we should be focused on. But there seems to be this tit for tat now. They're doing what I used to do. I've learned from and moved on. People are still doing it. But I don't consider them fans. You're absolutely spot on. But my point is the focus should be on the company that elevated these fans in the first place. They're responsible for giving these fans the power. So, you know, we go after the company. We call them out. We call out whoever's running the show, right? We call out the cast then that come out with ridiculous fucking statements. That's what we focus on. Fuck their fans. Or their so-called fans. Fuck their super fans. Then we know they're not fans. We know what they are, right? They all come in and they support the show or they follow a show because they either like a certain actress who happens to have a certain belief or they have a cast of a certain diversity and bang, bang, bang. We've seen it throughout the years, but they're the wrong people to be fighting with. Yeah, I'm not, of course, yeah. So Chris follows. I'm not saying to berate them, far from it. I'm merely saying that they're not fans of the franchise, but fans of an agenda. And I agree the studios need to be held accountable. Exactly. And that's what I've been hopefully trying to put across. But that's what I mean. The focus should be on the studio. They're the ones that should be held to account. They're the ones that have made all of these decisions, and they're the ones that have ruined all of these franchises. Right? These locusts are going to go from franchise to franchise. Right? It doesn't matter. They're irrelevant. Right? If we choose to allow them to get under our skin. They've already won, right? We have to ignore them. It's the companies that we should be angry at. They're the ones that are making this product that isn't up to the standards that it should be, or at least respecting the canon and the law. You know what I mean? So, look, I'm probably wasting me time, to be quite honest, talking about this, because people will do what they want to do, and I'll probably be criticised for telling for doing this part of the stream, and people saying, well, how dare he, tell people how to run their YouTube channel. I'm actually not telling you how to run your YouTube channel, but what I'm trying to do is trying to get you to remember why you come into this fight in the first place, and why you set up your channel in the first place, because you believed in something, and you believe that the Hollywood elites, and you believe that the people behind, the creative minds behind these shows and movie franchises, weren't doing their jobs properly, and we used to call them out all the time. But now it's become like a ground war. It's like we've gone into the trenches now, and we're fighting people that we shouldn't be actually fighting, because no matter what you say to those people, you're wasting your time. Jesus Christ, I wasted an awful lot of these 5 years fighting these morons. Oh. Seriously, maybe one day I'll wake up, just like when I woke up and the whole world seemed to change overnight. Maybe I'll wake up one day and I'll go onto YouTube and I'll actually see that people are actually fighting this culture war the way it should be. But at this fucking stage, I think it's a pipe dream. But we'll see what happens. Well, anyway, look, guaranteed anyway that the Rings of Power and House of Dragon will bring a lot of these YouTubers plenty of videos, and it's gonna get worse, because as soon as these shows are on there, and then you have that side of the fandom that are not really fans coming out then trying to explain why they changed canon, then you're gonna have the other side then come out then and start, at first it'll be to explain why they're wrong and they're stupid, but then it's gonna go into this tit for tat thing, and it's just gonna get worse. And then the whole point of the argument in the first place is gonna be lost, and it's just gonna turn into a complete shit show. And I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy it all. To be quite honest with you, it's gonna be something. But you know, we'll see how. Obviously, I don't think it's gonna happen, but you never know. We might actually get a miracle, and these two shows might actually be good. But from what I've seen personally myself, I can honestly say, based on what I've seen, I don't have any high hopes for both shows. But that's not to say that there's a possibility and a chance that they could be good. But let's be honest, it's a bit of a long shot. And as I said, HBO don't realise that us fans, look, we spent a lot of years on Game of Thrones. It was a global phenomenon. And to end it the way they did, give us that last season the way they did, especially those last few episodes, it was an insult to everybody that watched that show for all those years. And, I don't think fans have gotten over it. I mean, even when Elon Musk, I remember, was joking about buying uh, Lord of the Rings. Oh, not Lord of the Rings. When he said he would buy Game of Thrones just so he could fix, and the reaction that got from a lot of fans. So I don't think HBO understand fans are still fucking pretty bitter over over Game of Thrones. So this is a bit of a gamble. And look, this show could end up being good. I have to say the trailer didn't. The trailer was okay. The only thing I found about the trailer was it looked like it was just going to be focused on your mad queen. And I suppose maybe it was always going to be focused on the mad queen, but I was hoping they might fucking do something to kind of rectify. But I don't give a shit, man. I'll watch it. I'll give it a go anyway. But look, I don't hold out any hope. But it's not going to be a phenomenon like Game of Thrones was anyway. Before they screwed it up, it'll never be as big as Game of Thrones. And even though Game of Thrones last season is bad, it is pretty bad. And you know, in the middle, it kind of got a bit up itself a bit. It's still a great show. I'd actually watch Game of Thrones again, but I just avoid the last series. No, I just don't know, man. I don't know. Any of you guys in the chat before we leave, because we're going to be heading off, Charlie. You have to bring Ted out in a while. Cheryl just brought him out to me, and he's sitting beside me legs there. Any of you guys interested in any of the shows that I've mentioned there, Game of Thrones or Ring of Power, the Rings of Power, I should say. Even though you've heard all the stuff, are you going to give it a go, or are you going to avoid it completely? Let me know. It'll be very interesting to hear in the chat what everybody has to say about that. Because again, I think that's another thing as well that we kind of tend to do, is that we listen to a lot of people out. Oh, well, I'm not watching it, and then it's like, well, I'm not going to watch it either. Whereas, you know, my whole thing is now is that I would say, you know, the only way you could judge these things yourself is by watching it. Dave travels through time says maybe. MCTV says Power was an amazing show the entire way. No, this is Rings of Power. This is the Lord of the Rings franchise. This is Rings of Power is a prequel to Lord of the Rings. So that's the show I'm talking about. But Dave says maybe, but the MCTV did say Power was an amazing show the entire way through, but the writers ruined the ending by killing off the main characters and doing a stupid murder mystery. Turned out it was his son that killed him. Oh, for God's sake. I know, but there's a TV show called Powers. Well, yeah, I'm just after reading it out there now. Yeah, I know there's a show called Power, and I heard it was pretty impressive, but I'm going to be honest, I never watched it. I never watched it because I never read about it, but when I seen the headline Power, I thought it was this corporate business thing, like trying to get power and stuff. And I'm not really like Succession. It looks decent, but I'm not really into those, you know, kind of shows where, you know, family are trying to screw their dad over to get succession, the power and all of that, unless it's a historical thing, which is weird. I gave on Game of Thrones. Oh, you gave up on Game of Thrones after season 5. Not interested in the prequel. As for the Rings of Power, since I'll be modding on channels that will cover it, I will, but only to see how Amazon will move away from canon. So you're going to watch it, basically what you're saying. But the main reason why is because you're going to be modding. And you know what, Chris, I have to give it to you. But that's what I like about you. You're modding on these channels and you won't be necessarily coming on to talk about them. But you're willing enough as a mod, because you know a lot of people in the chat are going to be talking. And the fact that you're going to be watching, then if someone says something in the chat, then you can actually like come out and you'll have knowledge because you've watched. And that's what I like about you, man. You're very honest. You're out straight whether you watch or you're not going to watch. But as your mod, fair play to you, man. That's the way to do it, though. If you're a mod, if you're going to be modding on someone's channel, but you're not necessarily going to come on, it's actually great to have that knowledge when you're modding on someone's channel, because you can. Because if someone says something that that everybody's agreeing with in the chat, and you know that it's not true because you've watched, and you could tell that they haven't watched and they've just been listening to someone else, then that's a good reason, man. I agree with that, 100%. But I tell you, I'm gonna watch myself, as I said. But Chris, I don't really envious. I don't really not envious the wrong word. I really feel we're gonna suffer through it, because I don't know. Look, they could surprise us. It'd be nice to think that they will surprise us, but the stuff that I've been hearing from the main cast, especially from the Rings of Power, is not very encouraging. It's like as if these people don't learn lessons from other franchises out there, or see how other actors and actresses have conducted themselves and seeing that it's backfired. It just seems like that Hollywood celebrities are unwilling to learn or adapt or understand what's going on around them. It's like that they're so far removed from reality, and we all know they live inside their own bubble anyway. But it's like as if they're so deep when they're in their own bubble, they can't read the room. They can't read the room. So the cast of Rings of Power, yeah, they've come out with some quotes and interviews that I have actually watched, because as I said, I am going to watch this show. The only reason why I haven't talked about Rings of Power on my Twitter account is because I don't want to keep bitching and moaning about it. I heard all the stuff that they're supposed to be doing, right? And remember, I think a lot of this is actually rumor anyway. I think there has been so-called leaks as well. If that is true, then fine, that is true. But as I haven't been really deep diving into this, right, to find out what all the problems fans have, I'm just going to go into this and say, but I do know some of the issues, and I have seen from the cast, that we're in for another whopper, because they just don't learn. And that's what I actually wrote up, because I did actually retweet one of those videos, and I actually did just say they just haven't learned their lessons, and they can't read the room. Chris has said another 4 years of them staring away from what made these multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar franchises huge to begin with. 2025 is where things might begin to swing back to normality. Normality. I don't know, Chris. I probably would have agreed with 2025, but remember, we were already seeing a change, and then the pandemic came along, right? And now apparently the World Health Organization have made monkeypox a global, where they've warned the world, basically, right? So that would suggest that at some point, maybe down the line, we could go into another lockdown. I think your 2025 estimation would have been right if we hadn't went into a pandemic. But the fact that it looks like that we might even go into a second lockdown, or another big major lockdown, because we went into multiple lockdowns, let's not kid ourselves. But another one because of this, because because like everything now, everything's a drama to them, isn't it? So let's panic, lockdown, right? So 2025, yes, I would have agreed with you, say 2-3 years ago. But I think 2025 is optimistic, to be quite honest. I think we're looking at another good few years of this. I would go as far as to say 2030 is where we actually might see a change. Because if you look at the slates that were put out of the stuff that's coming out, there doesn't seem to be any shift at all. They seem to be going down the same route and seem to be proud to do so. So I think 2025 is a bit optimistic. I'm going to actually say around 2030 is where we might actually start to see things go back to normal. The two Avenger films are in 2025. They will both hit $1 billion guaranteed. That's why I don't see this 2025. Look, I hope you're right. I really fucking do, because this needs to end. But I'm gonna say 2030, man. Seriously. I think we were seeing it with the films like Joker and all. And while we've had hits like Maverick, which will signal to the Hollywood elites that this is what we want, they don't seem to be paying attention. Look at what's coming out. Look at what's coming out over the next few years. They are not changing course, folks. They're not changing course. And remember, the movies are kind of behind us in terms of where we are socially, right? These movies are not going to be released, and some of these TV shows are not going to be released they're going to be released over the next couple of years. So seriously, we're in I think even 2030 is optimistic. I'm sorry to be a downer. But I actually even think 2030 is optimistic. It's only 8 years away. You really think they're going to shift when we were seeing signs, but it was slow, but then the pandemic happened and then everything just went back to the way it was before the pandemic. The shift completely, it stopped dead. And then we just kept getting more agenda. It was like as if they recharged the batteries. The pandemic didn't end it. If the pandemic never came along, Joker and movies like that were making an impact, Ghostbusters, as I said, Afterlife, if that momentum had kept going, then yes, your estimation of 2025, I reckon, would be close enough. But this pandemic has set us back, and they've gotten a chance to regroup now. And also, as well, remember, this would have gave them a chance to see where they went wrong the first time. That was upsetting people. Now, some companies still haven't learned and are still blatantly in your face, right? But there's others that have been able to reposition themselves now, and they're just being more clever with their messaging. Might be more clever with their messaging, but the break didn't make them better writers. That's the problem. But seriously, I'd rather quality over quantity. Yeah, I do agree with you. This is why movies like Maverick will do well, because they're few and far between nowadays. And that's the sad thing about Hollywood. There was a time where Hollywood were putting hit after hit after hit after hit out. They're few and far between now. And now you've got the streaming services now who want a piece of that pie, who are offering actors basically limitless contracts with limitless money, and any projects that actors are vanity fairs that they are vanity projects that they have, Netflix, Amazon Prime, and all of these platforms are allowing them to do it as well. So, we do criticize Hollywood and these big studios sometimes when an actor will talk about a movie that they had planned and the Hollywood studios thought was a no-go. Sometimes there's a reason why some of these projects are not a no-go, and we've actually seen that develop on Netflix with some movies that some of these people have made that think, well, that was a bad move. This is why sometimes the Hollywood studios will know better than the actors. The actors get so far up their own arse to handle the script. Oh yeah, I'll play that part, I'll direct, I'll do this, that, and it'll be great. But yeah, we've got. Before I do leave, yeah, you're right. Let's end on a positive note. So yeah, let's end on the things that I'm actually looking forward to, which is obviously the last two Mission Impossible movies, and I think that's his swan song. So he's finished with Mission Impossible now, which will be sad because I've rewatched the whole franchise, and by God, it got better and better as it went on. Like the first movie was great, second movie wasn't that great. It was still good, pretty good. Third movie was absolutely brilliant. I love the third movie. That's the one with what's his face in it. Um, uh, what's his face? Uh, I can never think of his first name. Hoffman. Not Dustin Hoffman. The other one for Capote. He won for an Oscar for Capote. Oh Jesus, what's his name? How was his name? Just flew out my head. He's a great actor. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Thank you. What an actor. Jesus, he's brilliant in that Mission Impossible movie. He's a fucking man. I love that movie. But actually, I'd have to say, even though I've enjoyed the other later ones and they are great, and I'm not going to lie, I really, really do like that Philip Seymour Hoffman Mission Impossible film. It's one of the best ones in my opinion. Ghost Protocol was very good. Um, that was actually very good. Yeah. What was the next one? Rogue Nation was it or something? That was pretty good. They're very good, better than the James Bond franchise over the last few years. I will say that. But yeah, the Mission Impossible movies and the next reboot of James Bond will be very interesting. Yeah, James Bond is the more interesting one. Um, for the simple reason is the actor will define which direction this goes in. Now, no matter what the feminists say, or the radical feminists, we should say, um, the producer has made it clear that James Bond is and always will be a man. So there's no issue there, right? The issue that they're gonna have is the actor first of all, and which direction are they going to take this franchise? Remember, this franchise has changed direction over the years. With Sean Connery, it was a bit more serious, wasn't it? And then you obviously had the George Lazenby one, which I thought was very good. You had Roger Moore as well, but his Bond was more camp. But within his camp Bond, he had probably two of the best movies in the franchise. I love Live and Let Die, and for me, I know he was an older man, and he kind of regretted it years later doing it. But I actually do love A View to a Kill. Don't care what anybody says. I think that movie with Christopher Walken is a deadly movie. He was a bit old at that stage, but I don't care. It was a great movie. They actually played up on that when they did the movie. There's actually interesting trivia. But yeah, there was regret on both sides that he came back. But I love that. But then Daniel Craig then no, then we had Timothy Dalton, which I thought was ahead of his time. And that's where I would like the franchise to go. With Daniel Craig, they did try make it gritty like that, but then it kind of, the Daniel Craig era of Bond will be looked at with a fine tooth comb, and people will have problems with it. People will have their opinions on it. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Some of the movies, yes, have have let me down. I didn't like Quantum of Solace. I did think Skyfall. I still believe it's one of the best Bond movies. I think Skyfall is absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I watched the second last one, but I haven't watched the last one yet. I still haven't gotten around to watching the last Bond movie. But that's got to do with the fact of everything that I heard about. But again, as I said, I will judge these on their own. I will get around to watching it. I might even try watch it tonight. You never know. But Timothy Dalton's Bond movies, both of those Bond movies I love. Now, if they went in that direction, but this is right, it's the actor. So this Henry Cavill or Richard Madden. Well, and you'd love to see Jenna Coleman as Miss Moneypenny. I mean, that wouldn't be bad casting, right? But this is how Henry gets the Bond franchise, right? If Warner Brothers have actually decided that he's not going to play Superman again, they should come out and actually announce it. We know Henry does want to play Superman again, so if he came out with a statement to say that, you know, it's the right decision, we know it's bullshit, right? Warner Brothers are dickheads anyway for not giving him another movie, right? That's how I feel about it anyway. I think he is Superman. I think he loves the character, even the way he's been talking about it in other film interviews where he's been interviewed for a different film, and then he will bring up Superman, and he talks about things and where he would like to take the character and the direction he would like to take the character, and he had some very interesting ideas, he said, and that intrigued me. But that's the only way he gets the Bond franchise, if Warner Brothers have decided he's not playing Superman anymore. So if Henry Cavill gets announced as James Bond anytime in the future, well, then that will confirm that Henry is no longer playing Superman. And that, to me, I'll be happy that he's Bond, but I'll be more sad that he can't play Superman again. Because, you know, I've liked every actor that's ever played Superman, including Dean Cain. I've liked every interpretation of Superman, way back to George Reeves' Superman as well, right? I've liked every interpretation. Even Brandon, you get stick. Superman Returns was a shit movie, and I'll still maintain it's a ropey movie. But he played a good Superman. I'm not going to lie, and as I said, the TV Supermans have not been bad, but I will be gutted because he is Superman. He is the movie Superman, and you know, Christopher Reeves was his Superman, and Henry is his Superman. Now, there shouldn't be a comparison of who is the best Superman, right? We all know who is the best Superman anyway. It doesn't need to be said. Right? We know it'll always be Chris Reeves. There's no question, right? But I really love Henry Superman, and I love his interpretation. And I know if he gets and this is going to be controversial. Forget about the Snyderverse, right? Henry needs to do Superman with someone else. Zack Snyder, whether people like it or not, is too toxic. He'll divide the fandom, right? So Superman needs to be made by someone else. And I think Henry has kind of indicated and hinted in interviews that him and Zack Snyder's vision for Superman are not actually in sync with each other, right? I think Henry wants to play a more conventional, more the way we know Superman. I think Zack Snyder does want to change Superman, and we've seen it in his movies. And let's be honest, we've seen it. So yeah, it's controversial, but if Henry comes back as Superman, I don't want him to come back with Zack Snyder. Look, I'll always be grateful for Zack Snyder for the Snyder cut of Justice League, because let's be honest, it was a far superior movie, and it was brilliant, even though, you know, he had to do a lot of CGI and stuff. That doesn't matter. The movie is still a good movie, right? And it had to be as long as it did to tell the story that he needed to tell, right? But if you want the next Superman movie to do well, you have to bring someone else in with Henry to direct and to write the story. Brandon was a great Clark Kent. He understood the quirkiness that Christopher Reeves portrayed, but he didn't nail Superman until he played the Kingdom Come version on the CW. That's a fair point, Chris. It's a fair point. I'll give you that one. Zack Snyder has admitted he dislikes Superman, so he was the wrong person to head up DC live action universe. Well, there you go then. There you go. And shouldn't we get someone in that actually understands and loves Superman? You know? And that would be my point. Look, Henry's not going to be able to get his cake and eat it here, play Bond and play Superman. I don't know how you could juggle those two unless, you know, Barbara and whoever was working on the Superman franchise came up with, right, so we're going to be filming our movie then Henry's available for this amount of time before we film the other movie, blah. But then the poor fucker he'd never get a rest. So I'll ask you this question. We'll leave it with this one, right? I'll leave this with this question, and I'll take these our answers. But we'll it is a bit of it's an interesting question, actually. So, if you actually have a choice, and the two studios said, right, listen, we're willing to make a new Superman movie, new direction, blah, 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 blah. And then Pinewood Studios or whoever runs fucking, what's it? It's not MGM, is it? Who runs fucking James Bond now? It's whoever it is, right? And they come out and said, listen, we're thinking of casting Henry as. It would never happen. It's a hypothetical question. But you had a choice between Henry as James Bond or Henry as Superman. It is MGM, thank you. Right. So if you had a choice between Henry as James Bond or Superman, right? Because you can't have both. And you won't get both, by the way, because it'd absolutely kill him. There's no way he could juggle those two big franchises. No way. So you've got a choice. Superman, you want him back as Superman, or you want him to play the new James Bond? Which one would you pick? I'll ask the wife, actually. Cheryl will start off. Cheryl, if you had a choice between Henry to play James Bond or for him to come back as Superman, which would you choose? Superman? James Bond? Mm-hmm. Right, Cheryl has picked James Bond, and Marty has picked James Bond. So that's 2 for James Bond. Right. Interesting, because I would go with Superman. Because I still think there's other actors out there that you could cast for James Bond. Whereas, tell me, okay, Marty, I'll ask you this question. You said Bond all day, right? Fair enough. So, who would you cast as Superman then to replace Henry? Because to me, and I'm just looking at the actors that we have now, I don't see anybody out there that could play Superman right now. And that's another true fact there as well. But in fairness, though, Daniel Craig's Bond was a bit buff. So, I mean, he could probably keep his buffness for James Bond, but I don't think it'd work this time. I think we need to kind of go back to a traditional Sean Connery type or Pierce Brosnan type of Bond, or even a Roger Moore, that type, not a bulky Bond. But you make a good point there. But see, that's the thing. If I was to look at it, I don't see anybody else playing Superman. And I think Warner Brothers are screwed because I don't see anybody. And if they had got someone in mind, I don't know who it would be, but I don't just see that actor out there. I don't see an actor out there that can play Superman right now at the moment. Not one actor comes to mind. Austin Butler, perhaps, maybe not. Caval's figure in Man of Uncle was perfect look for James Bond. I think a lot of you would prefer him in James Bond now. See, I think that's Warner Brothers have screwed around with fans now that they don't really care now, do they? Whereas I kind of still do. I'm bringing them out.
I'm just bringing them out.
Okay. Jesus, I thought you were bringing them out. I'm nearly finished anyway. I don't want to take him out because she was given a bit of bad news about one of our cats. And she was only told now, but it happened 2 weeks ago. So she's a bit upset about that. So, yeah. What, go back and do a 60s style Bond? I don't know how they're gonna. This is the thing, though, Marty. You bring up a very interesting point, because this is the big question on fans' lips right now. Right now, obviously, the actor will probably determine or will give us an indication on which direction. Well, it won't actually, but the actor will give us an indication of what type of Bond they want. But it will be interesting to see what kind of direction they go in this time. Will they continue the Daniel Craig route, or style, I should say, the style of it, kind of like a Mission Impossible style Bond, or Born Identity Bond? Or will they go back to a traditional Bond and have all the gadgets and stuff like that proper? In Daniel Craig's Bond, obviously they did start introducing gadgets, but I think a lot of us did like the gadgets and stuff, and that was the one thing that was severely missing in the Craig era. Even though he did have a few, he didn't have as many. I used to love all the stupid little ones, the watches with the lasers and the pen and stuff. I used to love all of that. Will they go that direction, or will they go in a direction that we don't? Could they go in the direction that you actually say, bring it back to the 1960s and make it 1960s style? I don't know. This is the thing that people will be waiting to see. But do we have any idea? Have they even indicated when they plan to start up again? I know they'll be all taking a well-earned rest. But have they even indicated when they're even considering starting up the Bond franchise again? Will they reboot it? Because there has been talks of them rebooting it, which would actually tie into kind of your rumor, Marty, wouldn't it? Or your idea, where a 60s kind of Bond, if they rebooted it, then they would have to do that, wouldn't they? They said filming is at least 2 years away, but they are talking to actors at the minute. So it's the actors. Right, well, 2 years will actually fly in. Let's be honest, it will. It'll be interesting to see and hear after they announce the actor what other actors were in the frame, because it does come out. It'll be interesting to see, do we agree with the studio? Because normally, I remember the backlash to Daniel Craig's Bond. Oh, we got a fair-haired Bond. No, Bond is not fair-haired. He has dark hair. But let's be honest, he kicked ass in Casino Royale, and I don't care what anybody says. Up until that point, that was up there as one of the top Bond movies for me. I fucking love that movie. I love the way it starts in black and white, and then like we see how he gets his double O status, and it's not a big long drawn out thing. It's like it's literally just shown, bang, there you go, and then shit breaks loose. I love it. Rumors are floating around that Christopher Nolan has been approached to direct. Listen, I'll watch any Chris Nolan movie. And if Chris Nolan does James Bond, oh my bleeding God. Look, I'm going to say this. The Robert Pattinson the Batman, was a decent movie. Is it as great as everybody is making it out to be? No. Patterson was decent as Batman as well, not going to lie. But for me, there's only one. Look, Batman 1989 and Batman Returns, I love it. Batman Forever, I have a soft spot for, but it's a bit of a dickhead movie. And let's not talk about Batman and Robin and yeah, Batman Forever. Let's not talk about those movies. But the Dark Knight trilogy for me is I consider the definitive Batman movie trilogy. Seriously. I don't think anything can touch it. I'm sorry, but nothing touches the Dark Knight. I don't care what anybody says. Batman Begins is a great movie. The third one is the weakest one for me. But the Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises is the weakest one. But the Dark Knight is just, oh man, it's just got one. The performances in that and Heath Ledger, just everything about that movie. I'm sorry, you can't beat that. You can't beat that movie franchise. The Batman's a good movie in its own right. It's just a different direction, and I like it. But nothing beats the Dark Knight. I'm sorry, but the Dark Knight trilogy for me, and even with, as you said, well, the first two of the trilogy were good. Yeah, I agree with you. The first two were good. The Dark Knight Rises was a letdown. I'm not going to lie, but I did like the end of the Dark Knight Rises. I did like that little scene between Michael Caine and Christian Bale's character Alfred and Bruce. That was a nice little end. I did like that, I have to admit. But that movie was a bit of a letdown. But you can't beat the first two. The first two are just brilliant. Brilliant movies. Martin Campbell would be good to direct. He done Casino Royale and GoldenEye, but my preference is Nolan. Yeah, well, if Nolan was to come in and do the Bond franchise, or at least do a few movies, or just do what they did, because the one thing they did wrong for me in the Daniel Craig franchise was, didn't they bring back some directors to do another movie? Whereas I think, for me personally, and if I'm correct, I could be wrong, there may have been a few movies that were written by or directed by the same director, but I think most of the movies should be written and should be directed by different directors and different writers. I think that's what makes the Bond franchise kind of unique for me. But I do like GoldenEye. GoldenEye gets stick, but GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan's first outing as Bond is actually brilliant. He was very cheesy though. He was that one was very serious, right? But as his franchise went on, he got cheesier and cheesier. And then when I look at I Die Another Day is an absolute disgrace of a Bond movie. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a soft spot for that movie, even though it's terrible. I love the cars in it. I love the car chase on the ice. Everything about that movie is ridiculous. It shouldn't even exist, but it's fun. It's fun. It's just, if you forget that it's a Bond movie and just knock off your brain for the next couple of hours, it's actually a decent movie to watch. Bit like the Fast and the Furious franchise. But in saying that, the first Fast and Furious movie was actually good compared to this. Yeah, they always have created. When that starts happening, though, you know the franchise is in trouble. And Daniel Craig got too powerful for my own good, for their own good. These actors, because he was in this franchise, he thought he could start calling the shots. But I don't think that was a good idea. But look, I'm going to leave it there because Ted is literally trampling all over Cheryl, it sounds like, because she's just had to let it out a scream. See, he knows she's upset, so he tries to comfort her by basically assaulting her. So that's what the dog is doing. So I have to stop the assault. So I will talk to you over the weekend. Look after yourselves. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There she goes again. Ted, come out. Come here, Ted. Yeah, don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe. Look out for those member streams. Don't worry, I'll get that schedule up as soon as I get organized again. And I will, as I said, I will talk to you over the weekend and during the week. Have a good one. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And don't forget, if you haven't already voted in that poll for the movie stream, for next week's movie stream, please do. And if you could do, so there's about 5 days left on the poll. If you could retweet, say, every 2 days, maybe until the poll comes to an end, and encourage your followers to give the poll a vote. That would be absolutely fantastic. And let's see where the result lies in 5 days' time. So good night, everybody. Have a good one. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I certainly did. And I will talk to you very soon. Have a good one. Bye.